Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato. This is Dan Hannon, also known as the Emperor, and everybody knows Rhett Shull. Today is the beginning of a new series, and it's called Would They Make It Today? Now the premise is, would any particular artists, we're going to pick famous artists from the past, would they actually make it today in 2018? And the artist that we're going to discuss today is The Police. Some of the things that we're going to be discussing are, would their songs actually fit in musically with what's going on? Do they have the right image? Would they actually fit in as a brand new band, assuming we have to actually pretend like they never existed before? And one of the reasons I decided to start with The Police is because I really don't think that there's anybody that sounded like The Police since then. I want to open it up here. Dan, why don't you start off? What do you think?
I think they definitely would be. One, because their whole part of the premise of the band was the punk thing. Rebel against the man, and but the music is so undeniable. And it's kind of like Sting is a unicorn, too. He's like this really great-looking dude. He looks like a model, which is basically all people look for these days.
Right.
If you're good looking, well, it doesn't matter.
So right there, so they had that going for them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you can sing. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, you're good looking. We'll put you on TV, and everybody will love you. So there's that. But then on top of that, he's one of the best singers in pop rock music ever. Walking on the moon. So couple that with the fact that they were rebelling, but a lot of people today, they rebel and they put on this I'm against the man and all that, or not the man, but just they try to be as audacious as possible, but there's no substance there. With somebody like The Police, their music was incredible, and it had substance. It had real harmonic value. It had great songwriting. I mean, everything. And then so I feel like that could still break through today, even with the vapid music that is sitting atop the charts now. I feel like it would be refreshing, and I think people would really respond well.
Okay, so for example, give me a song that you say, let's say Roxanne came out today. What about Roxanne would make it stand out? That particular song.
Well, one, it's so hooky, and there's, the trick that Sting uses a lot is he'll start the verses in a minor key, so they sound really dark, and then when you hit the chorus, it pops because it goes to a major, a major sounding thing. And I think that's a trick that works really well, anytime. But I just feel like it's that first line of the song, you're in.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light.
It's such an amazing way to start a song. And I remember watching a video on The Police. I think it was called Bring on the Night or something.
Oh, yeah.
It was a documentary. Yeah. And they're interviewing Sting, like, when did you know that, you'd kind of made it? And he said, I was in a hotel room.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
I was sitting in a hotel room.
Window
with
washer.
The blinds. Yeah, and there's a window washer there. And he's got his headphones in, and he's singing Roxanne.
Right.
So it's like, I think that song is so catchy today, and I think you hear people like Bruno Mars sort of trying to recapture the magic of a song like that. And
of course, Bruno Mars, though, wouldn't be doing that had they not existed,
true,
right?
Very true, yeah. There wouldn't be that kind of influence, I guess, to pull from. It would be as original today as it would then, especially where music has gone. And, we've done a video before talking about there's 4 chords that you use.
Oh, Dan, by the way, Dan is in one of my biggest videos ever. He's only in it for a split second. Friends Dan and Cody singing.
Despacito, quiero destruir tu cuello despacito, deja que te diga cosas al oído.
It's funny because I called him up and I said, hey, Emperor, I need you to come down and sing on this thing. And he's like, what am I singing? And I said, and I gave him the songs. And I said, do you speak Spanish? Yeah, by the time he got down here, he spoke Spanish well enough to sing that song. So anyways, Rhett, okay, so you have a song like Roxanne, reggae beat.
Yeah.
How does it fit in with today's music?
All right, well, let me start by saying that The Police are one of my favorite bands of all time. That being said, I'm on the fence as to whether or not they would be successful today. I agree with everything you just said, Dan, but I also am not convinced that the music industry of today, the top 40 music industry of today, would be as quick to accept an act that had such a fresh and new sound, an act like the Police that was blending, reggae and some jazz harmony and all this like really cool groove-based stuff. When you look at what's happening on the top 40 charts today, it's so anemic and so
great word,
unoriginal. And so when you have a band coming out like the Police, I think a lot of industry executives, I think a lot of A&R people would be a little apprehensive to want to sign a band like that, because I think it would be, assuming they never existed before, I think it would have been an unproven sound. So that being said, like Dan was saying, the songs are undeniable, right? Sting as a front man is undeniable. Just the whole image of the band, like the trio, everyone's playing an instrument, everyone's killing their instruments, their live shows are insane.
Afternoon is gently pass me by. The evening spreads itself against blue sky.
This is a tough, I might be flipping back and forth throughout this whole video.
Okay, well, I have a different perspective than both of them because, well, Dan was alive in 1978, but I was in 10th grade when Roxanne came on the radio. So I actually experienced what it was like to hear it the first time. And when you heard Sting's voice, it didn't matter how loud your car was. His voice was so high that you could hear it over anything.
A year has passed since I wrote my note. I should have known this right from the start.
And I remember it. People used to say, well, have you heard that reggae song that's, guy with a really high voice? It's amazing. And the hooks are undeniable in the song. I mean, we can take Roxanne, but if you go later on in the Police, every little thing she does is magic. Would be a hit. Every Breath You Take.
Since you gone, I've been lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can only see your face.
Be a hit, but it's been covered and been sampled so many times, like Roxanne. Roxanne has been sampled so many times on other big songs that that it's already proven. There's a song on the charts right now that's using the Shape of My Heart.
I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you.
He deals the cards as a meditation.
And that shows you the relevance of Sting's writing. I mean, Sting wrote all the big songs in the Police.
That record is 25 years old, by the way. It came out in '93, I think. Just by the way, I'm just feeling old.
Wow, I was 3.
So it is a vintage Sting song at this point.
Now, I really believe, imagining that Roxanne, for example, it's not done to a click, but it would be so fresh sounding. Sting's voice, no auto-tune on it. It would sound so different than everything that I think A&R people would jump on it so quickly. And if you imagine the entire first record coming out, Truth Hits Everybody, Next to You, So Lonely. I mean, these are massively... Born in the 50s, one of my favorite ones. With their first record, I mean, forget it. Synchronicity would be a massive hit today. Every Breath You Take, if it came out today with nothing done to it, you may have to edit some of the parts, maybe coming out of the first chorus and the second verse. Any of the little instrumental parts, people would want to shorten the tunes because you can't have tunes that long. But
or Walking on the Moon.
Walking on the Moon
would be a great one today because it's the right tempo. It's got the right kind of groove.
We could walk forever, walking on the moon. We could be two.
And if it came out today, if we're assuming that there would be some modern production techniques used on their stuff, I don't know if we're going to go there in the series or not, but something like Walking on the Moon, they would probably want to do, a lot of hip-hop and rappers, a lot of hip-hop artists and rappers would want to, remix that and do features on it and stuff, just because of the groove.
I wonder if an A&R guy wouldn't say, hey guys, I love the record and everything, but if we really want to make it, we gotta get
Max Martin to write for you.
We gotta feature Kendrick Lamar on Roxanne or something, or we gotta
I'm sure they would.
Some rapper on it, and which might be cool, but it stands alone.
I'd be into the Kendrick thing, honestly. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think part of what is wrong with today's music is you don't have people that work that hard, or they don't know their craft. They just know what fame looks like and what it looks like to be on TV. And I think there's a little bit of an underground culture, at least maybe you guys have experienced this too, but I've encountered a lot more serious musicians and serious writers lately. Guys that can really play their instrument, people that really are taking music more seriously and trying to write things that are more interesting. They're influenced by great music. They're sort of, I feel like maybe we're reaching a point where everybody's tired of this.
Well, and to add on to that, they're coming up through things like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Right. Like on the way down here, I was listening to the new Louis Cole record. Louis Cole is an artist who has a band named Knower, and he just put out a solo record that he basically did, mostly himself over the last 2 years. And I found out about him and about Knower through Facebook. Bands like Wolfpack, and then Corey Wong is an incredible guitar player that's coming up through social media, the advent of social media. So in some ways, Instagram and Facebook are kind of acting like the modern day record labels.
A&R.
Right? Exactly. So, which I think is kind of a good thing. It's sort of that kind of free market mentality when it comes to music. People are going to discover and promote what's good and what they like. And if record labels and A&R people were smart, they would pay attention to what's coming up on Facebook and what's getting tens of millions of views.
So we want to hear your thoughts. Would the Police make it today? That's all for now. Subscribe here. I'm going to put a link to Rhett's channel in the description. I'm going to put a link to Dan's channel into the description. And thank you for watching.